Jenny Burak is an astrologer and energy healing intuitive. She channels Metatron, archangels, and ascended masters. She uses the natal chart as a tool to take her clients into their timelines in order to heal experiences that show up as blocks in their lives today. She was taught how to use this method while going into timelines to heal her own experiences shown in her natal chart. Her YouTube channel is dedicated to bringing forward messages from higher vibrational beings about happenings on the planet now and for what is coming in the future using astrology. She has played the role of messenger in many lifetimes before this and was groomed for this purpose from a young age. Her teachings show others how to come into ascended mastery and live as their higher selves by manifesting and co-creating a life filled with joy and fulfillment. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, how are you, Sally?
I am great. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
So tell me, I know you say, let's talk a little bit about your business and your art and your gift.
Okay.
And then I have some questions I'd love to ask.
Okay. So what I do with the natal chart is I go through each house with the client, and typically a 1-hour session is where we start. And I like to have their feedback. Like I can see what probably prompted what's going on today. By looking at their Saturn, I can see where they maybe had a role of leadership where they felt like they felt short. And so they've kind of cut that in half by, having Saturn square something, Saturn retrograde. There's a lot of different configurations that you can see with each planet, depending on what it's aspecting and what house it's in and how it's talking to the other planets. I like to hear how that played out for them in this lifetime. And then we go into the timeline where the story happened originally, and the persons can witness what brought about the events that they're going through, like the situations and circumstances that have played out, and usually with Saturn, it isn't in such a nice way in this timeline. And then we remove the stories from the physical body, the energy bodies, and the subtle bodies while we're in the energy of the creator. So we do a meditation, which I put into the video that I'm sharing with everyone who attends your summit, that takes you into the energy of the light that people see when they pass over to the other side, the energy of the creator, which is that we're all sparks of. That's just an energy of pure unconditional love. And that's when we're able to remove those stories and, witness the timelines and then have the timeline closed and completed. So we're going into the Akashic record, but we're doing it through the energy of the creator and with the guidance of Archangel Metatron.
Okay. So you're taking people, you're looking at someone's chart, then you're taking them you're identifying I just want to make sure I understood that. So you're identifying how it's affecting them today, and then you're taking them through meditation back to former lifetimes.
Right.
And other things that have happened that they continue to keep playing out. Right.
And always it's a case where, it's something that we hold resentment toward ourselves about. It isn't like there's, somebody big bad guy in the sky that wants to punish us. It's that we're punishing ourselves for something that happened, sometimes thousands of years ago it started. And so once we do that healing then, and the person really forgives themselves and understands, usually the person's able to talk to their higher self and to hear in that energy, what the lesson was that they were trying to learn, and they understand why they took on that whole role in the first place and what they were trying to learn in that role. And then once they forgive themselves, the story is, rectified after it's removed from their body. So there's DNA changes that go along with the healings as well.
So, okay. So you mentioned Metatron, and I've heard Metatron. I don't know much about angels.
Okay.
So you mentioned Metatron and a couple of other angels in some of your work that I've listened to. Which I love, by the way. I love your YouTube channel. But can you explain a little bit about those angels and
Sure.
how they work and how you use them in your work, or how they use you in their work, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. We work like a team, Metatron and I are always, he always tells me, because a lot of times, so what happened with me, it started actually when I was a baby, that I would, my parents talk about when I had just turned 1. And by the way, they were only 20, 21 years old at the time, but I would tell them stories like, we did this together, we did that together. And so they would quiz me, what about we? What did you do with we? And my mom told me that they would look at each other like, I think she really did that, because I was so confident in what I was talking about. And I had dreams as a baby of being at a park that was near the apartment building where we lived, and this big giant angel holding my hand there. And so I think that was the beginning of astral travel. A lot of people can remember as small children, especially the millennials, will tell me stories of astral travel that they had as children. So I started doing that right off the bat. And my father then became a minister in a fundamentalist Christian church, where I was introduced to the Holy Spirit and Jesus, of course. And so when I was 7 years old, I had a very real experience with Jesus alone in my bedroom, that brought me to tears. And it was really the first time in my life that I had felt an energy of pure unconditional love. Of course, at the time I didn't use that wording, but it just washed over me and washed through me, and I was crying, and it was a very real experience as a 7-year-old. And then started to hear, the voice of who I identified at the time as the Holy Spirit. Metatron is the name that we associate with the Holy Spirit, because it's really, when you're looking at it from the higher perspective outside of the way that the human mind is used to conceiving of these things, it's sort of a network energy that of our higher selves and the higher vibrational energies of pure unconditional love that guides us through our lifetimes, that oversees the balance of karma, the Akashic record, sacred geometry. And he also appears as an angel, an archangel. And that's the way, I have a picture on my website of the way that I see him in that way as well. But that's why a lot of people choose not to see the angels and just to hear them, because we're all part of the vibration of the Creator. So we're really all linked in that energy too. So it's kind of like the higher vibration of yourself. Once you come into alignment within yourself with the energy of pure unconditional love, and you're able to speak to your higher self, then you're able to speak with those vibrations as well.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting it.
Are you getting it? Yeah.
I'm getting it. Yeah, I'm getting it. Okay, so the tagline of this summit is create ease, balance, and abundance in a rapidly changing world.
Right.
So can you feel things speeding up?
Definitely. And with all of these, we're in the midst of the series of the moons that are going to, are at 0 degrees. You can see even with the eclipse that we had that kicked off the year with Saturn involved, we're always talking about time, especially that Uranus moved forward that day. We're all like changing timelines, things that we're still going to maybe do on the planet that are going to be pushed to a later time, but we're coming into a new way of doing things for sure on the planet. And I really think that as governments and banks and things go awry, and we have these physical changes happening on the earth, that's when really we're going to begin to ascend. Because those of us who are looking to bring our light and to shine more brilliantly, the universe is right there just waiting for us to take a step into doing that and manifesting abundance and plenty, and really just opening up opportunities for us and gateways of opportunities for us is what Metatron is saying to me right now, that this is really an energy that's like a thrust forward. especially in 2019 with the Jupiter square Neptune. You can use that energy and not such a good, it can be like addiction and where people just get carried away with their own stuff. But it's also infinite magic and limitless possibilities energy. And as long as you're directing it the right way and your heart's in the right place, you can do that this year.
Okay, so let's say someone's feeling fear right now, and they're feeling chaos. They're feeling all this chaos and craziness. What can they do by looking at what would be the indicators in their natal chart that would bring this to some type of karmic, like, okay, this is definitely some type of karma. This is definitely something I need to heal. This is definitely something I need to, go to Jenny for, so that we can, or look at my own natal chart so that we can get the hell out of this.
Right.
Right. Not go back to this place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and those energies were part of the eclipse too. I mean, Saturn and Pluto will call, it makes us, that's fear. That's a feeling of fear. And it's also jumping into the unknown, because we don't feel secure right now. We have the North Node in Cancer, and all of us don't feel secure. We don't feel secure with decisions that people in our government are making, what's going on financially, with the trade wars. And this isn't just in the United States. There's just a lot of feeling of insecurity, and the earth is, the poles aren't going to shift because humanity would end, and that's not going to happen, but they are going to tilt. And it's going to be a long, 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 long time, not like in 10 years. It's going to go on for decades, the changes in the planet. But those of us who are sensitive to energy, as you were just talking about before we turned the camera on, well, we can feel that. We do feel that. So what I do is a lot of deep breaths, and especially with the Jupiter square Uranus and that getting carried away, being grounded is important. So when I woke up a couple of weeks ago, they said, stand up. My higher self was like, stand up, take a deep breath, inhale through the nose, go to the root chakra, because that's where we feel fear. And the solar plexus is about power too. So I try to just really seed that in and see. A lot of times I'll ask just in meditation, or you can just close your eyes and see the color blue, the blue ray filling all of the waters in your body. So much of us is water, and the blue ray is peace and calm, the same energy as Michael, Archangel Michael. So that's why I'm wearing this today, is for Michael. Just seeing that color like wash into you, and then really concentrating, focusing on putting that strength in your own energy, or the white light energy, into your root chakra. Because really what they were talking about in reference to the eclipse, it's kind of, those energies are kind of governing through the year, because it doesn't come to the fullness until July 5th of 2020. So Mary was talking about using this South Node being in there in that mix as like a spurring forward kind of energy, where you're just releasing fear. That's all our own stuff, fear. It's all our own. And Metatron, just joking around with me a couple weeks ago, said, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. So, and it's true. It really is our own mind construct that's bringing up the fear. It's not really anything to be afraid of. It's just that we don't know what the future holds, and we don't have that sense of security about it. So true. Yeah.
It's so true. I have, so next, of course, all my peers, that I went to high school with, they're already having their second Saturn return. Mine starts February of next year.
Okay.
Lucky me, right in January.
I feel like don't you feel like the second Saturn return is when you really come into your own and you're just solid in who you are?
I do. I really do. I feel like some people, I see some chaotic things going on in other people's lives, but then I look at, where they are in their growth cycle too.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and what they're doing to kind of get themselves, you know, to grow. What the,
Right.
such a growth period, but it's
Yeah.
also kind of a. But I have been, you know, my first Saturn return was so crazy. I just keep thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now with this Pluto? Because Pluto, I think, goes right on top of, or goes conjunct with right the month before, and I'm already kind of feeling I'm already feeling all this.
Oh, for sure. I feel like as the vibration of the planet has changed through the years, that a lot of astrology teachings about like how many degrees you feel this or that are not, you know, it really depends on the individual, you know, and how sensitive they are to energies. Because I felt stuff like I had my eclipse experience during the month of December. I didn't know that that's what was happening, but that's what happened. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, it's conjunct my midheaven.
Ah.
Yeah, so it was hitting a lot of points.
Yeah, you always feel things a little bit more when they're conjunct. So
yes.
Midheaven or of course, or
yeah.
ascendant or anything.
Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. So tell everybody about the gift. It's so generous, the gift that you're giving.
So I did a meditation healing with healing for the original wounds. That's what Metatron refers to, that wound of separation. Because as we left the light and we started incarnating, you know, that feeling when you first, if you go back and look at that, and it took me honestly a few years before I got to the point where I was able to go back and look at when you left the light. It's a feeling of sort of being torn away. And then you forget as you start incarnating, wait, I'm actually part of that light. And, you know, there's just this whole story going on in the collective consciousness that we're somehow separate from God, that we're not a part of God, that we are answering to a God that's angry with us, or we've done something displeasing to God. And Chiron, when you get down to the nitty gritty of wherever Chiron is in your chart, it comes back to that original wound of separation. So that's what I did for my meditation video, and people can get that link by just not logging on, but going on to astrologyforascension.com is my website, and they can just fill out the form that pops up right in that opening window for the newsletter, and then just right in the description box, I'd like a copy of the video that you did for all of us who attended the summit, and then they can I'll send that to them by email.
Right. We will have that link posted down below your interview too. So all they have to do rather than going to your site is just to click on that.
Okay.
And that will send them directly to that page and that place. So
Okay.
that they can get that information, because that's definitely something I'm going to do. Yeah. You know, I wanted to ask you one thing that occurred to me while you were talking about this. You had said that you had this information as a child, and then your father became a minister at a fundamentalist church. You know, I live out here in the Bible Belt.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, you know, I was raised in Methodist, but was fairly conservative. And I just wonder, having said that, what kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Did this gift stay with you?
I pretty much shut it off. What happened was, as I got older, I was probably about 8 or 9. There were a lot of really dark energies in my house. So a lot of people watching this will know that, you know, as a child, especially, you're sensitive to that. And, you know, that was just part of my story, and it's fine. But as a child, it was scary. And so at about 8 or 9, I asked to not see it anymore, just because I didn't want to see it anymore. And then,
do you remember that, or did you have to go back to that time?
No, I remember.
Okay. And
I saw Archangel Sandalphon, who is like the partner energy to Metatron's energy. I saw her a lot throughout my childhood him actually, but very feminine energy. And then when I was 20 years old, I was doing like prophesying and things like that. I went on a missions trip. I was the only American in Zimbabwe. And I met a lot of Christians from around the world. And I thought like, wow, this is a different kind of Christian. And I came home and I never went back to church. And I just kind of put all of that away. And then, you know, I always was talking to him though at night. I don't know how to explain it. It's like when we need to stay asleep we all do choose to stay asleep for a period of time, you know, so that we can finish out karmic agreements and things like that. And then I just started having like really wild supernatural things go on in my life, you know, like in my mid-40s when Pluto came to my midheaven, Saturn was going through my sun sign, and Uranus was coming through the sign of my ascendant. I really had just, like, I had no one to talk to because you can't just call anybody on the phone and say, what's happening? So,
that's what, yes. And it's scary. It can be scary.
Yeah. I somehow knew not to be afraid. I at first did start, like, some of the dreams that I had, and I actually was dreaming of the Uranus-Pluto squares, although I had no idea what it was. I had, you know, Uranus-Pluto squares from 2012 to 2015. I think a lot of people woke up then. Yeah, and yeah, I saw them like 7 black tornadoes coming out of the sky in a blue sky. It was a perfect, beautiful day. And then suddenly these 7 tornadoes appeared, and I knew that meant that things were about to change, and maybe not in such a good way. And they certainly did, but that was what led to my awakening. So.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is such helpful information. And I would like to really say to the viewers, if you are going through an ascension process, if you're having an awakening, or if you feel completely displaced, that's probably what's happening to you now. You're being told to wake up.
Right. And that's it.
And it's time. It's a good thing. It really is a good thing. Once you get through the process, find somebody to help you.
Yeah.
If it's a healer, if it's an astrologer, if it is a pastor that you can really talk to about things.
Right.
Whatever it is, find a really good practitioner or someone who has already gone through this process.
Yeah, and the universe will lead you to someone too if you ask. People will appear in your path that can help you.
It's so true. It's so true. She speaks the truth. This has been awesome, and we'll direct everybody to the link for your gift. And I can't tell you how much I admire you and your work.
Oh, thank you, Sally. I appreciate that very much, and I'm so glad that you invited me to be part of this. I hope that we'll keep in touch.
Oh, we will.
Okay, good.
We will. I plan on getting a reading.
Okay, good.
I plan on getting some of your goodness.
Okay, good.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, Sally.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.